If you own a home in Greater Vancouver, there's a good chance you think it is worth more than buyers are willing to pay for today. And before you get upset, you are definitely not alone. And in fact, I think this is the single biggest reason why many listings are sitting on the market longer in 2026. It's not because they are bad homes, and it's not because the buyers disappeared. It's simply because many homeowners are still pricing their home based on yesterday's or maybe even last year's market instead of today's. The unfortunate part is that pricing too high doesn't mean waiting a little longer. It often ends up costing sellers more money in the end. So today, let's talk about why so many Vancouver homeowners still think their home is worth more than it is, and what smart sellers are doing differently. Hi everyone, this is Michael Chou with eXp Realty. I help homeowners and buyers throughout Greater Vancouver making informed real estate decisions. And if you enjoy practical market insights backed by real experience, consider like and subscribe because I post new videos every week. Let's get right into it. Here's something I hear almost every week. My neighbor sold for $2.3 million. My neighbor's townhouse sold in multiple offers, and my BC assessment is even higher. Those are all understandable reasons to believe your home should be worth the same. But here's the problem. Real estate isn't valued based on what happened 2 or 3 years ago. It's valued based on what today's buyers are willing to pay. Market evolves, interest rate changes, inventory changes, buyer confidence changes as well. Yet many homeowners are still anchored to prices from 2021 and early 2022. That emotional anchor is incredibly powerful and is often the biggest obstacle to selling successfully today. Here's why many sellers get caught off guard. The market didn't collapse, but it definitely changed. A few years ago, buyers were competing against each other, and today they are comparing homes. That's a completely different mindset. Instead of asking, can I win this bidding war? Buyers are asking, which one offers the best bond? That one shift changes how every property is evaluated. When buyers have more options, they are much less likely to overpay. They will simply move on to the next listing. This isn't really a real estate problem. It's a human psychology problem. We naturally compare today's value to the highest price we have ever seen. If someone tells you that your home was worth $2 million 2 years ago, it's hard to accept an offer that's lower today, even if it's completely reasonable in the current market. That's called price anchoring. And it happens everywhere. Stocks, cars, businesses, and real estate is no different. The challenge is that buyers don't care what your home was worth. They care what it's worth today compared to everything else they can buy. Now, this might surprise you. Buyers are not comparing your home to what sold last year. They are comparing it to 5 or 10 homes they have toured this weekend. If another property offers a newer kitchen, better layout, larger lot, or simply feel like better value, that's your real competition. I've had buyers walking away from beautiful homes simply because another listing offered just a little bit more for roughly the same price. That's how today's market works. And that's why pricing has become more important than ever. Here's a couple recent examples. One of my homeowners wanted to list based on the neighbor's sales from the peak market. After reviewing the current competition together, we adjusted the expectations before going live. The result? Strong early interest with a successful sale without months and months of chasing the market. Another seller chose to test the market with a significantly higher asking price. And the home, no surprise, received very few showings. And they eventually reduced the price multiple times, but then the buyers had already asking the question, what's wrong with the property? The home ultimately sold for less than what a strategic launch might have achieved. On the buyer side, I've also worked with clients who found excellent homes after the previous listings became stale. They were not buying bad properties. They were buying homes where pricing finally matched today's market. The lesson is not every home should be priced low. The lesson is that the market usually tells the truth. Numbers doesn't lie, and sometimes the truth comes sooner than we would like. Many sellers think if I start high, I can always negotiate later. That sounds logical, but in reality, The first 2 weeks are often the most valuable period for any listing. That's when buyers are paying the most attention. That's when your listing feels new. And that's when serious buyers book showings. If the prices turn those buyers away, you rarely get a second first impression. Eventually, you will reduce the price. But instead of creating excitement, you are trying to recover lost momentum. And that's much harder to do. The sellers achieving the strongest result today usually are not the ones trying to squeeze every penny out of the market. Instead, they are asking different questions. How do I become the best value in my price range? This mindset changes everything. They are preparing the home properly, investing in professional staging, photography, looking closely at competing listings, and pricing strategically from day one. And ironically, low sellers often end up negotiating from a stronger position because they have created competition rather than chasing buyers. Now, does that mean every seller has to accept less? Absolutely not. Great homes still come in great prices. Properties that are well maintained, updated, properly marketed, and priced according to today's competition can still sell extremely well. In fact, I have seen buyers compete aggressively for homes that checked all of the right boxes. The difference is that premium prices today has to be earned and not assumed. So here's the biggest takeaway. The Vancouver market hasn't become impossible. It's simply become more rational. Buyers, they have more choices today, and they are more informed, and they are comparing value much more carefully than they have a few years ago. The homeowners who recognize this early are usually the ones who sell faster with far less stress. The ones who continue chasing yesterday's price often spend months and months adjusting to today's reality. If you are thinking about selling your home and wondering how much your home is worth on today's market, not based on the old headlines or outdated expectations, I'm here for you. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and let me ask you this. Do you think Vancouver homeowners are still overestimating their home value, or do you think buyers are simply becoming too cautious? I would love to hear your perspective. Thanks for watching. Until next time, or simply better go Mike.